Kang Wu stared at the screen for the third time that morning. The numbers did not change. They never changed. For 15 years, he had watched the same empty space on his monitor, listening to the same quiet static that filled the communication center of Nexus Prime. The Galactic Council's largest monitoring station floated in the dark between star systems. Its job was simple: watch for signals from dead worlds. Most of the time, there were none. Dead worlds stayed dead. Another quiet day? Li Na asked as she walked to her workstation. The young analyst always arrived early, her dark eyes bright with curiosity that Kang Wu had lost years ago. Same as always, he replied, taking a sip of his morning drink. The liquid was bitter and helped him stay awake during the long shifts. Section 7749 is still silent. No signals, no movement, nothing. Li Na nodded as she turned on her equipment. Section 7749 was her assignment too, though she had only been working it for 6 months. The senior staff always gave new workers the dead sectors. It kept them busy without any real responsibility. Station Commander Park Jin walked through the center, his heavy footsteps echoing off the metal floors. He stopped at Kang Wu's station and looked at the displays. Still watching the ghost sector? Park Jin asked. His voice carried the tone of someone who had heard this conversation many times before. Orders are orders, Kang Wu said. Monitor all assigned sectors, report any signals. Park Jin laughed, but there was no humor in it. You have been monitoring empty space for 15 years, Kang Wu. That sector died 300 years ago. There is nothing left to find. The commander moved on to check other stations. Kang Wu returned to his work, adjusting settings that did not need adjusting and running tests that always showed the same results. Section 7749 remained silent. At least it had been silent until today. The first beep was so quiet that Kang Wu almost missed it. He thought his equipment was having problems. The second beep made him sit up straight. The third beep made him call Li Na over to his station. Are you seeing this? He asked, pointing at a small light that was flashing on his display. Li Na leaned over his shoulder and studied the screen. Her eyes grew wide. That is impossible. Section 7749 has been dead for centuries. Check your equipment, Kang Wu said. Maybe there is a problem with the receivers. Li Na ran to her station and began typing quickly on her keyboard. Numbers and charts filled her screen as she tested every piece of equipment connected to Section 7749. After 10 minutes, she looked up with confusion on her face. Everything is working perfectly, she said. All systems show normal operation. Whatever that signal is, it is real. Kang Wu felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Section 7749 contained only one thing of interest: the Sol system. Ancient records listed it as the home of a species called humans. But humans were just a story now, a legend told to frighten young cadets. The beeping grew stronger. Kang Wu adjusted his receivers and tried to clean up the signal. Slowly, words began to form out of the static. The voice was speaking Galactic Standard, but with an accent he had never heard before. This is Automated Beacon 77 Alpha, the voice said. Terran Federation vessel Prometheus preparing for transit. Estimated arrival in Galactic Council space, 14 standard days. We are coming home. The message repeated every 30 seconds. Each time it played, the signal grew a little stronger. Li Na grabbed Kang Wu's arm. Terran Federation. Humans called their planet Terra in the old stories. This cannot be real. It is real, Kang Wu said quietly. He had run every test he knew. The signal was coming from the right location and using proper galactic communication protocols. The question is what we do about it. We report it, Li Na said. This is the most important discovery in galactic history. If humans still exist, the Council needs to know immediately. Kang Wu was not so sure. He had read the old stories about humans. The official record said they had destroyed themselves in nuclear war 3 centuries ago. But there were other stories, older ones that most people did not talk about anymore. Stories about creatures that could turn anything into a weapon. Stories about beings who never surrendered and never stopped fighting. Commander Park Jin will not believe us, Kang Wu said. He thinks humans are fairy tales. Then we prove it to him, Li Na replied. She was already preparing a full report with signal recordings and analysis data. The evidence speaks for itself. 20 minutes later, Commander Park Jin stood at Kang Wu's station with a deep frown on his face. He had listened to the recording 3 times and read Li Na's report twice. His expression had not changed. This is obviously a hoax, Park Jin announced. Someone is playing games with old legends. Humans are extinct. They died out 300 years ago in nuclear fire. But the signal is coming from the Sol system, Li Na protested. The encryption matches pre-galactic mathematical sequences. No one alive today knows those codes. Any good hacker could fake old codes, Park Jin said. I will not waste council resources chasing ghost stories. You will log this as an equipment malfunction and return to normal duties. Sir, we should at least... That is an order, Park Jin said firmly. No reports to the council. No further investigation. This conversation never happened. The commander walked away, leaving Kang Wu and Li Na alone at the monitoring station. The signal continued to beep steadily, growing stronger with each repetition. What do we do now? Li Na asked quietly. Kang Wu looked at the flashing light on his screen. In 15 years of monitoring dead space, this was the first interesting thing that had ever happened. Park Jin might not believe in humans, but Kang Wu had read all the old files. The stories about human warriors were too detailed and too consistent to be completely made up. We keep monitoring, he said, quietly. If this is real, we need to know what is coming. Li Na nodded and returned to her station. For the rest of the day, they worked in silence while the automated message repeated over and over. Each time it played, the voice sounded a little clearer. As his shift ended, Kang Wu saved all the signal data to a secure file. Tomorrow he would begin searching the station's archives for every piece of information about humans he could find. If the legends were true, if humans really were coming back to galactic space, then someone needed to be ready. The signal from Section 7749 continued through the night, growing stronger with each passing hour. In the darkness between stars, something was moving toward them. Something that had been gone for 300 years was finally coming home. Whether that was good news or terrible news remained to be seen. 3 days had passed since the first signal from Section 7749. Every morning, Kang Wu arrived at his station to find the message growing stronger. Every evening, he saved the data to his private files and wondered what he was supposed to do with information that his commander refused to believe. Li Na had become obsessed with the mystery. She spent her free time in the station's archives, searching through old files and forgotten records. Most of the information about humans had been classified or deleted long ago, but small pieces remained scattered throughout the database. I found something, she whispered to Kang Wu during their afternoon break. There is a xenoarchaeologist on level 12 who specializes in extinct civilizations. His name is Kim Do, and according to his file, he has been studying human artifacts for 20 years. Kang Wu looked around the break room to make sure no one was listening. Commander Park Jin ordered us to drop this investigation. If he finds out we are still looking into the signal, then we do not tell him, Li Na said simply. Kim Do has clearance to access restricted historical files. If anyone knows the truth about humans, it would be him. That evening, after their shift ended, Kang Wu and Li Na took the elevator down to level 12. The research levels were much quieter than the communication center. Most of the scientists worked alone in small laboratories filled with strange equipment and ancient artifacts. They found Kim Do in a cluttered office surrounded by metal fragments and broken pieces of technology. He was a thin man with gray hair and tired eyes. When they knocked on his door, he looked up from his work with surprise. Communications officers? He asked. This is unusual. How can I help you? Li Na glanced at Kang Wu, then stepped forward. We need to ask you about humans. The real story, not the official records. Kim Do's expression changed immediately. He set down the artifact he was examining and studied them carefully. Why are you asking about humans? That subject is sensitive. We received a signal, Kang Wu said quietly, from the Sol system. Someone claiming to be from the Terran Federation. For a long moment, Kim Do said nothing. Then he stood up and walked to his office door. He looked down the hallway in both directions before closing the door and locking it. Sit down, he said. What I am about to tell you could get us all in serious trouble. Kim Do moved to a large safe in the corner of his office. He entered a long code and pulled out several thick files marked with warning labels. The official story says humans destroyed themselves in nuclear war 300 years ago. That story is a lie. He opened the first file and spread photographs across his desk. The images showed strange metal objects covered in symbols that looked almost like galactic script, but different somehow. These artifacts were recovered from a battlefield in the Outer Rim, Kim Do continued. 300 years ago, a human exploration vessel encountered a Korthak battle fleet. The humans were heavily outnumbered, but they won. Li Na picked up one of the photographs. It showed a piece of metal that had been twisted into an impossible shape. How did they win against the Korthak? Their battle fleets were legendary. That is the frightening part, Kim Do replied. According to the few survivors, the humans did not use advanced weapons. They used mining tools, repair equipment, and cargo containers. They turned everything on their ship into weapons. When their main engines failed, they used the explosion to destroy 3 Korthak dreadnoughts. Kang Wu felt that cold feeling in his stomach again. The survivors reported this to the Galactic Council? Yes, and it terrified them, Kim Do said. The Council had never encountered a species like humans before. Most civilizations follow predictable patterns. They develop technology in logical steps. They follow established military tactics. They surrender when defeat is certain. Humans did none of these things. Kim Do opened a second file filled with reports written in the formal language of Council documents. The human ship was called the Explorer. It was not even a warship, just a research vessel with a crew of 47 people. But when the Korthak fleet attacked, those 47 humans fought like demons. What happened next? Li Na asked. The Council made a decision, Kim Do said grimly. They declared humans too dangerous to join galactic civilization. A massive fleet was sent to the Sol system with orders to quarantine the entire human species. Quarantine, Kang Wu repeated. Not destroy? The Council was not completely heartless, Kim Do explained. They knew humans were intelligent and capable of great things, but they were also unpredictable and violent. The solution was to contain them in their home system, until they either evolved into something less dangerous or destroyed themselves naturally. Kim Do pulled out a star chart that showed the Sol system surrounded by warning markers. A massive sensor network was built around human space. Any ship trying to leave would be stopped immediately. The Council told the galaxy that humans had died in nuclear war, and most people believed it. But they did not die, Li Na said. They have been trapped in their own system for 300 years. Exactly, Kim Do nodded. And now if your signal is real, they are trying to come back. Kang Wu studied the old reports and artifact photos. Everything Kim Do was showing them painted a picture of humans as incredibly dangerous opponents. But there was something else in the files, something that bothered him. These reports, he said, pointing to a document dated 3 centuries ago. They say humans were still using primitive technology when they were quarantined. Chemical rockets, basic computers, nuclear weapons. If they have been developing in isolation for 300 years, then they have had time to grow much more powerful, Kim Do finished. That is what keeps me awake at night. The humans who fought the Korthak were barely space-capable. What would 3 centuries of human development look like? A soft knock at the door interrupted their conversation. All 3 of them froze as a voice called from the hallway. Dr. Kim Do, this is Security Chief Yune. I need to speak with you. Kim Do quickly gathered the files and photographs, shoving them back into the safe. He motioned for Kang Wu and Li Na to stay calm as he unlocked and opened the door. Yune was a stern woman in a black uniform. She looked past Kim Do to see the 2 communications officers sitting in his office. Mr. Kang Wu and Ms. Li Na, I was wondering where you had gone. Is there a problem? Kim Do asked carefully. There might be, Yune replied. Commander Park Jin asked me to monitor unusual activity on the station. Accessing restricted files, visiting unauthorized areas, discussing classified subjects. He is concerned about information security. Li Na and Kang Wu exchanged glances. Park Jin was having them watched. We were just consulting Dr. Kim Do about some unusual signal patterns, Kang Wu said. Nothing classified. Yune smiled, but it was not a friendly expression. Of course, Dr. Kim Do. I trust you will remember that your research clearance comes with certain responsibilities. Sharing classified information with unauthorized personnel would be unfortunate. I understand completely, Kim Do replied. After Yune left, they sat in uncomfortable silence for several minutes. Finally, Kim Do spoke. She knows something. Commander Park Jin must have reported your signal discovery to security. What do we do now? Li Na asked. Kim Do looked at his safe, then back at them. You continue monitoring that signal. If humans really are coming back, someone needs to be ready. But be very careful. The Council has kept the truth about humans secret for 300 years. They will not want that secret exposed now. As they rode the elevator back to their quarters, Kang Wu thought about everything they had learned. Humans were not extinct fairy tale creatures. They were real, they were dangerous, and they had been locked away for 3 centuries. Now they were trying to come home. The signal from Section 7749 continued to grow stronger every day. In 11 more days, according to the message, the Prometheus would arrive in galactic space. Kang Wu wondered if anyone was ready for what was coming. He suspected the answer was no. The alarm system on Nexus Prime had not sounded in 12 years. When it finally activated, the piercing noise sent everyone on the station into immediate panic. Kang Wu ran from his quarters to the communication center, still wearing his sleep clothes. "What is happening?" he shouted over the noise as he reached his station. Li Na was already there, her face pale as she stared at her displays. Something just dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Council space. It is massive. Commander Park Jin burst into the communication center, his uniform hastily thrown on. "Report, what triggered the proximity alarms?" "Unknown vessel, sir," replied the duty officer. "It appeared exactly where the signal coordinates indicated, right at the boundary of Section 7749. Park Jin's face went white. For 2 weeks he had insisted the human signal was fake. Now something real had arrived exactly when and where the message had promised. Kang Wu pulled up the sensor readings on his screen. What he saw made his hands shake. The object was enormous, larger than anything in the Council fleet database. But more disturbing than its size was its shape. The vessel looked like it had been carved from a single piece of black metal. No windows, no visible engines, no external weapons. It simply hung in space like a predator waiting to strike. "Get me a communication channel," Park Jin ordered. "All frequencies." Li Na worked quickly at her station. "Channel open, sir. Unknown vessel, this is Nexus Prime Monitoring Station. Identify yourself and state your purpose in Council space." For a long moment there was only silence. Then a calm voice replied over the speakers. The accent was the same one they had heard in the automated message, but this voice belonged to a living person. "Nexus Prime, this is Captain Choi Bin of the Terran Federation vessel Prometheus. We have come to rejoin galactic civilization. We would prefer to do this peacefully." The communication center fell silent except for the quiet hum of equipment. Everyone stared at the speakers as if the voice might say something else. But Captain Choi Bin seemed content to wait for a response. "Terran Federation," Park Jin repeated slowly. "You claim to represent humans?" "That is correct," Captain Choi Bin replied. "We have been away for some time. We understand this may come as a surprise." Park Jin looked around the communication center. His officers were all watching him, waiting for orders. The commander had spent 2 weeks insisting humans were extinct. Now he was talking to one. "Please hold your position," Park Jin said finally. "We are contacting the Galactic Council for instructions." "Of course," Captain Choi Bin replied. "We will wait." The channel closed, leaving them alone with the impossible situation. Park Jin immediately activated the emergency communication system that connected Nexus Prime directly to Council headquarters. "Priority alert," he said into the transmitter. "This is Commander Park Jin requesting immediate assistance. We have a situation that requires Council intervention." While they waited for a response, Kang Wu studied the sensor readings from the human ship. The more he looked, the more confused he became. The Prometheus was clearly advanced, but its technology was completely different from anything the Council used. "The hull material is unknown," he reported to Park Jin. "Sensors cannot penetrate it. We have no information about weapons, crew size, or internal systems." "How is that possible?" Park Jin asked. "The ship seems to absorb scanning beams instead of reflecting them," Li Na added. "It is like trying to look into a black hole." Within an hour, the Council's response arrived. Admiral Kotal, the highest-ranking military officer in the galaxy, appeared on their main communication screen. His scaled face showed deep concern. "Commander Park Jin, confirm your report. You have made contact with humans?" "Yes, sir," Park Jin replied. "A ship called the Prometheus appeared at the coordinates we have been monitoring. The captain identifies himself as Choi Bin of the Terran Federation." Admiral Kotal was quiet for a moment. In the background, Kang Wu could see other council members moving around frantically. "We are sending the 3rd Fleet to your location," Admiral Kotal announced. 12 dreadnoughts under the command of Admiral Vex Korin. Estimated arrival time is 6 hours. "What are our orders until then?" Park Jin asked. "Maintain communication with the human vessel, but do not allow it to move deeper into Council space. If it attempts to leave the boundary zone, you are authorized to use any necessary force to stop it. The channel closed, leaving them to wait. Kang Wu opened a communication line to the Prometheus. Captain Choi Bin, this is Communications Officer Kang Wu. Council forces are on their way to meet with you. They should arrive in approximately 6 hours. Thank you for the information, Mr. Kang Wu, Captain Choi Bin replied. We will continue to wait. May I ask how many ships the Council is sending? The question was polite, but it made everyone in the communications center nervous. Why did the captain want to know about Council military strength? 12 vessels, Kang Wu answered honestly. I see, Captain Choi Bin said. That seems like quite a large force for a diplomatic meeting. Before Kang Wu could respond, another voice came over the channel. This one belonged to a woman with the same strange accent. Captain, this is Diplomatic Officer Oh Soo. Perhaps we should explain our situation to avoid any misunderstandings. Go ahead, Captain Choi Bin replied. Nexus Prime, we understand that our return may cause some concern, Oh Soo said. We have been monitoring galactic communications for some time. We know that most people believe humans are extinct. We also know that our ancestors had some difficulties with the Galactic Council. Li Na leaned forward at her station. The humans knew about the quarantine. We want to assure you that we come in peace, Oh Soo continued. The Terran Federation has changed significantly over the past 3 centuries. We have learned much about ourselves during our isolation. What exactly have you learned? Park Jin asked. There was a pause before Oh Soo answered. We have learned that our greatest strength was also our greatest weakness. Humans adapt to any situation, but we used to adapt by fighting. Now we adapt by understanding. We hope to demonstrate this to the Council when their ships arrive. The next 6 hours passed slowly. The human ship remained motionless at the edge of Council space while everyone on Nexus Prime watched and waited. Kang Wu tried to scan the Prometheus repeatedly, but learned nothing new. The vessel remained a complete mystery. When the Council fleet finally arrived, it was an impressive sight. 12 massive dreadnoughts dropped out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. Each ship was over 2 kilometers long and armed with enough weapons to destroy entire planets. Admiral Vex Korin immediately opened a channel to both Nexus Prime and the human vessel. This is Admiral Korin of the Galactic Council 3rd Fleet, human ship Prometheus. You are ordered to surrender for inspection and questioning. Admiral Korin, Captain Choi Bin replied calmly. We respectfully decline. We have committed no crimes and violated no laws. We simply wish to open diplomatic relations with the Galactic Council. You are trespassing in Council space without permission, Admiral Korin stated. Surrender immediately or we will use force. We understand your position, Captain Choi Bin said. However, we cannot comply with your demand. Perhaps we can demonstrate our peaceful intentions in another way. Without warning, every weapon on all 12 Council ships fired at once. The space around the Prometheus filled with energy beams, plasma bolts, and explosive missiles. The attack was so intense that the sensors on Nexus Prime were temporarily blinded by the light. When the displays cleared, Kang Wu expected to see empty space where the human ship had been. Instead, the Prometheus hung exactly where it had before, completely undamaged. But now its hull was glowing with absorbed energy. Impossible, Park Jin whispered. Admiral Korin, Captain Choi Bin said, his voice still perfectly calm. We understand your caution, but we really do prefer to solve problems peacefully. Chief Engineer Han Min, please demonstrate our technological capabilities to our new friends. What happened next would be remembered in galactic history books for centuries. The Prometheus began to change shape. Its hull flowed like liquid metal, forming new structures and configurations. Weapon ports appeared and disappeared. The ship split into multiple sections, then recombined into something completely different. Within minutes, 12 small craft had separated from the main vessel. Each one moved toward a different Council dreadnought with impossible speed and precision. They did not fire weapons. Instead, they attached themselves to the Council ships and began doing something that no one could understand. They are hacking our systems, Admiral Korin reported in a panicked voice. All ship functions are being taken over. We cannot fight back. One by one, the Council dreadnoughts went dark. Their weapons powered down, their engines stopped, their shields collapsed. In less than an hour, the most powerful fleet in galactic history had been completely disabled by a single human ship using no conventional weapons at all. This concludes our demonstration, Captain Choi Bin announced. We have taken no hostile action and caused no permanent damage. All of your ships will be fully functional again in 24 hours. We hope this helps establish our credibility for future negotiations." Kang Wu stared at his displays in shock. The legends about humans had been wrong. They were not just dangerous. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been going on for 6 hours. Representatives from 47 different species sat around the massive circular chamber, all arguing about what to do with the humans. Kang Wu watched the proceedings from a small observation booth, still amazed that he had been invited to attend. 3 days had passed since the Prometheus had disabled the Council fleet. During that time, more human ships had arrived. Not just 1 or 2, but dozens of them. Each vessel was different in design, as if humans could not decide on a single way to build their technology. Some ships looked like flying cities. Others resembled giant insects, and a few appeared to be made entirely of light. "The situation is unprecedented," announced Prime Minister Zhang Ro, the elderly leader of the council. "We have 43 human vessels positioned throughout our space, all claiming peaceful intentions. Yet they have demonstrated the ability to defeat our most advanced military forces without firing a shot." Representative Kraz of the Vorthak Empire stood up to speak. His species had been warriors for thousands of years, and the fear in his voice was clear. "These creatures are more dangerous than the old stories claimed. They do not follow any rules of warfare we understand. We should attack them with everything we have before they become even stronger." "With what?" asked Representative Tilak from the Zinthari Republic. "They disabled 12 dreadnoughts using mining equipment and repair tools. Our weapons are useless against them." "Then we negotiate," said Representative Fen of the Aquatic Worlds. "What choice do we have?" Prime Minister Zhang Ro looked tired and old. Leading the galaxy had been much simpler when humans were safely locked away in their home system. "We have already opened diplomatic channels. Ambassador Xinye of the Terran Federation is waiting outside this chamber. The question is what we say to her." The debate continued for another hour. Some council members wanted to surrender immediately. Others demanded a fight to the death. A few suggested fleeing to another galaxy entirely. But everyone knew the truth. Humanity had returned and the galaxy would never be the same. Finally, Prime Minister Zhang Ro called for order. "We will meet with the human ambassador. But first, I want to hear from our expert on human behavior." Kim Do stood up in the observation booth. After the events of the past week, his secret research had suddenly become very valuable. The council had promoted him to chief xenoanthropologist and given him emergency clearance to access any files he needed. "Prime Minister, honored representatives," Kim Do began, "I have spent the last 3 days studying every piece of information we have about human development during their isolation. What I have learned is both fascinating and terrifying." He activated a holographic display that showed the Sol system. For 300 years, humans were trapped in a single star system with limited resources. Most species would have stagnated or died out. Humans did neither. Instead, they learned to make the most of what they had. The display changed to show technical diagrams of human technology. They developed what they call adaptive engineering. Instead of building specialized tools for specific jobs, they create systems that can be reconfigured for any purpose. Their ships are not just vehicles, they are mobile factories that can build anything they need. Representative Kraz made a disgusted noise. "This explains how they defeated our fleet. They turned our own systems against us." "Exactly," Kim Do agreed. "But this is only part of what makes them dangerous. Humans do not think like we do. Where we see problems, they see puzzles to solve. Where we see limitations, they see opportunities. They have turned 3 centuries of imprisonment into 3 centuries of research and development." The display showed images of human settlements throughout their solar system. They have colonies on every planet and moon in their system. They have built artificial habitats in space. They have even learned to live inside their star's corona. Their population is now over 50 billion individuals, all of them trained in adaptive engineering from childhood. Prime Minister Yang Ro leaned forward in his chair. "What are you saying, Dr. Kim Do?" "I am saying that we are no longer dealing with the primitive humans our ancestors quarantined," Kim Do replied. "We are dealing with a civilization that has spent 300 years learning how to survive and thrive under any conditions. They are not just more advanced than us, they think differently than us." The chamber fell silent as the council members absorbed this information. Representative Fen finally spoke. If they are so powerful, why have they not simply taken over galactic space? Because they do not want to, Kim Do said simply. This is perhaps the most important thing about modern humans. They have learned to control their aggressive instincts. The old humans would have conquered us by now. These humans genuinely want to cooperate. How can you be certain of this? Asked Representative Tilak. Because they have had 3 days to destroy us and have not done so, Kim Do replied. Their technology is clearly superior to ours. If they wanted conquest, we would already be conquered. Prime Minister Zhang Ro nodded slowly. Very well. Bring in Ambassador Xinye. Let us hear what the humans have to say for themselves. The chamber doors opened, and a woman walked in wearing a simple dark blue uniform. Ambassador Xinye was younger than Kang Wu had expected, perhaps 40 years old by human standards. She moved with quiet confidence and showed no fear of the 47 alien representatives staring at her. Prime Minister Zhang Ro, honored representatives, she said with a slight bow. I am Xinye, speaking for the Terran Federation and all of humanity. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me. Ambassador Xinye, Prime Minister Zhang Ro replied formally. Your people have returned to galactic space after 3 centuries of absence. The Council wishes to understand your intentions. Xinye smiled, and there was genuine warmth in the expression. Our intentions are simple, Prime Minister. We want to rejoin galactic civilization as equals and partners. We have much to offer, and much to learn. You disabled our most powerful fleet without apparent effort, Representative Cross stated accusingly. This does not seem like the action of peaceful partners. You fired first, Xinye replied calmly. We simply defended ourselves using non-lethal methods. We could have destroyed your ships, but chose not to. We hope this demonstrates our commitment to peaceful solutions. What do you want from us? Asked Representative Fen. Xinye activated a small device that projected a holographic star chart above the chamber floor. We want to explore the galaxy together. For 300 years we have been alone in our small corner of space. We have learned much, but we know there is infinitely more to discover. We need your knowledge, your perspectives, your wisdom, and we believe you need our capabilities. What capabilities? Prime Minister Yang Ro asked. Allow me to demonstrate, Xinye said. She spoke quietly into a communication device. Chief Engineer Han Min, please show our friends the Keltros problem solution. A new holographic display appeared, showing a distant star system that Kang Wu recognized. The Keltros system had been abandoned for decades because of a rare, stellar phenomenon that made it impossible to establish colonies. Your stellar engineers have been trying to stabilize the Keltros star for 50 years, Xinye explained. They have used every known technique without success. We solved the problem in 6 hours. The display showed a fleet of human ships surrounding the unstable star. Instead of fighting the stellar chaos, they seemed to be working with it, redirecting the energy flows and creating a stable pattern. The secret was not to stop the star's unusual behavior, but to redirect it into useful forms, Xinye continued. We have turned Keltros into the most efficient energy source in this sector of the galaxy. The system is now ready for colonization by any species that wishes to settle there. The council chamber erupted in excited conversation. The Keltros problem had been considered unsolvable. If humans could fix it in 6 hours, what else might they be capable of? This is just one example, Xinye said when the noise died down. We have solutions for the Rigel plague, the Vega mine collapses, and the Centauri trade route pirates. We want to share these solutions freely, as gifts to mark our return to galactic civilization. Representative Tilak stood up. What do you want in return for these solutions? Partnership, Xinye replied. We want to be part of the galactic community again. We want to trade ideas, share knowledge, explore new worlds together. We want to be your allies, not your conquerors. And if we refuse? Representative Cross asked suspiciously. Xinye's expression remained calm, but her voice carried a subtle strength. Then we will respect your decision and withdraw to our own space. But we hope you will not refuse. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders. We believe we can accomplish more together than apart. Prime Minister Zhang Ro looked around the chamber at his fellow representatives. The fear was still there, but now it was mixed with something else, hope. For the first time in galactic history, someone had offered solutions to their biggest problems. We will need time to consider your proposal, the Prime Minister said finally. Of course, Xinye replied. But while you consider, Perhaps you would like to see more examples of what cooperation might accomplish. We have 43 ships full of ideas we would like to share. As the council session adjourned, 6 months had passed since humanity's return to galactic space. Kang Wu stood on the observation deck of the new Joint Research Station orbiting Nexus Prime, watching human and alien engineers work side by side. The sight still amazed him, even after all this time. The integration is proceeding faster than anyone expected, Li Na said as she joined him at the window. She now served as the primary liaison between human and council communication systems, a job that had not existed half a year ago. Sometimes I wonder if we made the right choice, Kang Wu replied. Everything is changing so quickly. Through the transparent aluminum window they could see the latest human vessel to arrive in council space. The ship was unlike any of the others, appearing to be grown rather than built. Its organic curves and living metal hull belonged to humanity's newest engineering breakthrough, biological starships that could repair and upgrade themselves. The council voted to accept the partnership agreement, Li Na reminded him. 45 species in favor, 2 abstaining. Even Representative Kraz changed his mind after the humans solved the Vorthak food shortage. Kang Wu nodded. The transformation had been remarkable. In 6 months, human engineers had tackled dozens of problems that had plagued galactic civilization for centuries. They approached each challenge not as a fixed obstacle, but as a puzzle with multiple solutions. Dr. Kim Do says the real changes are just beginning, Li Na continued. The humans are not just fixing our problems. They are teaching us to think about problems differently. The door to the observation deck opened and Kim Do himself walked in. The xenoarchaeologist had become one of the most important people in the galaxy, serving as the chief expert on human integration. His once cluttered office was now a massive research center staffed by scientists from dozens of species. Kang Wu, Li Na, he greeted them. Perfect timing. I wanted to show you something extraordinary. Kim Do activated a portable holographic projector. The display showed a star chart of the galaxy, but it looked different than any map Kang Wu had seen before. Hundreds of new routes connected previously isolated systems, and many dead zones now showed signs of activity. This is the galaxy as it exists today, Kim Do explained. 6 months of human partnership has opened up more new territory than the Council explored in the previous century. How is that possible? Kang Wu asked. Humans do not accept limitations the way we do, Kim Do replied. Take the Barrier Nebula, for example. For 1,000 years, we believed it was impossible to navigate. The radiation levels were too high, the gravitational fields too chaotic. Humans took one look at it and asked why we were fighting the nebula instead of working with it. The display zoomed in on the Barrier Nebula, showing new shipping lanes that curved and twisted through the dangerous region. They developed ships that used the nebula's energy to power themselves. What was once the galaxy's greatest obstacle is now the fastest trade route between the core worlds and the outer rim. Li Na pointed to another section of the map. What about the dead zone? Even humans cannot bring back destroyed solar systems. You are correct, Kim Do agreed. But they can use them. Human salvage teams are extracting rare materials from the dead zone that we never knew existed. They are building new habitats in the ruins of dead worlds. They are turning destruction into opportunity. Through the window, they watched a group of human children arrive on a shuttle from Earth. The integration program included educational exchanges, allowing young humans to study galactic science, while alien students learned human adaptive engineering. The children laughed and played with alien youngsters as if such friendships were the most natural thing in the universe. Sometimes I forget how young their civilization really is, Kang Wu observed. 300 years of isolation, and they accomplished more than species that have existed for millennia. That is exactly why they are so valuable, Kim Do said. Older civilizations like ours become set in our ways. We develop traditions, establish procedures, create rules that we follow without question. Humans question everything. A soft chime indicated an incoming message. Li Na checked her communication device and smiled. Admiral Bai Wan is requesting permission to dock. She has news from the expedition. Admiral Bai Wan had become the public face of humanity's military forces, though she was unlike any military leader the galaxy had ever known. Her ships carried scientists and engineers alongside warriors, and her battles were fought with ideas rather than weapons. They made their way to the docking bay to greet the admiral. Her ship, the New Horizon, was a perfect example of human design philosophy. It could function as a warship, a research vessel, a colony transport, or a mobile factory depending on current needs. Today it had returned from the galaxy's edge, where a joint human-alien expedition had been investigating ancient ruins. Admiral Bei Wan emerged from her ship accompanied by a diverse group of humans and aliens. Among them was Ko Yun, a young human scientist who had become famous for her work on biological adaptation. She carried a sealed container that seemed to glow with its own inner light. "Admiral Dr. Ko Yun," Kim Do greeted them. "What did you find out there?" "Something remarkable," Admiral Bei Wan replied. "And something terrifying. Dr. Ko Yun, would you like to explain?" Ko Yun set down her container carefully. "We found evidence of an ancient plague in the ruins, something that destroyed an entire civilization millions of years ago. The pathogen is still active." Kang Wu felt a familiar cold sensation in his stomach. "Active? Is it dangerous?" "Extremely dangerous," Ko Yun confirmed. "Council medical teams tried every known treatment. Nothing worked. The plague adapts to any cure we develop, becoming stronger each time. According to our projections, if it ever escaped the ruins, it could wipe out every known species within a few years." "Then why did you bring it here?" Li Na asked, staring nervously at the container. Ko Yun smiled, and there was something distinctly human in the expression. "Because we did not try to cure it. We adapted to it instead." She opened the container, revealing a small vial of clear liquid. "This is not a cure for the plague. It is a genetic modification that allows any species to coexist with the pathogen. Instead of fighting the disease, we teach our immune systems to work with it." "You infected yourself with an ancient plague?" Kim Do asked in shock. "We infected ourselves with the solution," Ko Yun corrected. "The plague becomes symbiotic rather than parasitic. It actually improves immune function in most species. What was once the galaxy's most dangerous threat is now its most powerful medicine." Admiral Bei Wan stepped forward. "This is what humans bring to galactic civilization. We do not just solve your current problems. We turn your greatest fears into your greatest strengths." Over the following weeks, the ancient plague solution was distributed throughout Council space. Species that had suffered from genetic diseases for millennia were suddenly cured. Populations that had been declining began to grow again. The modification even extended lifespans for many species, including humans themselves. But the real transformation was not medical. It was philosophical. The galaxy was learning to think like humans, to see every problem as an opportunity, every limitation as a challenge to overcome, every fear as a strength waiting to be discovered. Standing on the observation deck months later, Kang Wu watched the first joint expedition prepare to leave for another galaxy. The fleet contained ships from every major species, all working together under human leadership principles. They were going to explore new worlds, meet new civilizations, and solve new problems. "Do you still wonder if we made the right choice?" Li Na asked, joining him at the window once again. Kang Wu thought about the question carefully. The galaxy had changed beyond recognition. Old certainties were gone, replaced by constant adaptation and growth. Some species were struggling to keep up with the pace of change. Others worried that human influence was becoming too strong. But then he looked at the mixed crews loading equipment onto their ships, humans and aliens working together as if they had been partners for centuries. He watched alien children playing games invented by human youngsters. He saw technology that combined the best ideas from dozens of different civilizations. "The legends were right about humans," he said finally. "They are dangerous, but they are dangerous in the best possible way. They make us dangerous too." As the joint expedition fleet engaged their faster-than-light drives and disappeared into the void, Kang Wu realized that humanity's return had given the galaxy something it had not possessed in millennia: unlimited potential. The universe was vast and full of challenges, but now they had partners who specialized in turning challenges into opportunities. The signal from Section 7749 had changed everything. What started as a mysterious message from dead space had become the beginning of a new age. Humans were no longer legends or nightmares. They were allies, teachers, and friends, and the galaxy would never be the same again. In his quarters that night, Kang Wu sat down to write a report about the day's events. For the first time in his career, he looked forward to tomorrow's problems. After all, problems were just puzzles waiting to be solved, and humans, it turned out, were very good at solving puzzles.